Hello and welcome to Miles Ahead with me, Miles.
And me, Bradley.
We're so glad you're here for another episode. Today, we're diving into something really exciting. Our predictions for the films and TV shows releasing in 2026.
That's right. We'll be looking at what films and TV shows we think are going to make waves this year. But before we jump into that, let's take a quick look back at 2025.
Last year was a good year for film and TV. What do you think?
Yes, I agree that there were some massive releases, everything from superhero blockbusters to intimate indie dramas that really captured audiences' hearts.
Yeah, people really came back to the theatres in a big way, which was quite good because cinema, I guess, turnout, audience figures, I don't know what's the official term, but it's been sort of waning a bit since lockdown, and it's good to see that there's a good presence of people turning up to the cinema. But anyway, but enough about last year. Let's talk about what we think is going to be the hits or misses of next year.
All right, so let's kick things off with the first half of 2026. What are you excited about? Let's kick things off by discussing the first half of 2026.
First is January, and although it's usually a quiet month, we have a few exciting releases. On the film side, we have the sequel to this year's hit 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And we've also got Wonder Man, the next Marvel series. So my predictions is, I think 28 Years Later will most likely be the most highest grossing film of that month. And Wonder Man's an interesting one because from the looks of it, it's very different from the Marvel shows. If it didn't have the names, it could be something completely different. So
I think it could
I think my prediction is that it probably won't be well received.
Yeah,
what do you think?
It's either going to be highly overrated or highly underrated. It could be highly overrated. Like, I think most Marvel stuff has been overrated, overhyped, and I think that's part of its sort of downfall, Marvel. I think it could be overrated. There's a lot of hype, but I think it will flop.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one looks like it's very much sort of like the Ironheart release last year or later last year.
And that had a lot
where
of
that
hype.
Was sort of sent out to sort of die kind of thing.
No, but it had a lot of hype.
I wouldn't say it had a lot of hype. I'd say that was one of probably the least okay as a series, personally. But yeah, I think it's a similar situation where this is sort of, I don't get why this is the thing.
No.
It looks different, but I don't think Marvel have quite figured out the TV formula. Because as much as or at least I did enjoy Marvel until after Endgame, but yeah, I think, in terms of the TV releases, I don't think this will be the most talked about.
No.
And we'll probably talk about the one that I do think will be the most talked about a bit later.
Yeah, I think it'll get lost, particularly as it's launching, in the early months of the year. I think we'll get lost between everything else that will happen in the year.
Now, for February, again, some pretty big releases. We've got the next series of the Disney Plus series Paradise and the 7th entry in the Scream franchise. Now, this is quite interesting. In terms of Scream, it's quite interesting because it's a complete sort of a reboot. Now, I've only seen the first 2 Screams, so I can't say I'm an expert. But I know they changed the cast up a little bit in the last 2 entries. And various world events, I'm going to say, that's all been changed and it's sort of shifted back a bit to what it originally was. However, my prediction is, I think despite all that, Scream 7 will still do quite well.
Yeah, I think so.
Paradise Series 2, I think, will be good, and I think we'll get the third series. But that's not much of a prediction. That's probably going to happen. Scream 7 is the more interesting one out of those releases because of everything I just said about what happened to the two main people in the last two films. Because there was Jenna Ortega from the Wednesday series.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other actress's name. And I mean, it's a long story. If you want to know a bit more about it, maybe you look up on Google. Because there are at least some of the plans they might have done if they continued it with those characters. But despite all that, I still think Scream 7 will do well. Maybe not the highest earning in the franchise, but it will still do well. What do you think? Although you haven't really seen Scream at all.
No. I think because of some of the cast that you mentioned, it will do well. I think because of the history it's had, I think it will do well. I don't think it'll be sorry, one of the greatest things to ever sort of come out in the year or early in the year. Or do as well as some of the other Scream films, but I think it will do somewhat well. It will earn its money back, basically.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Okay, so my next releases for March are the TV side of things. Daredevil Born Again Series 2. And on the film side, we've got the return of Thomas Shelby in Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man. So I'll ask you what your predictions are for these two.
Well, I think Daredevil Born Again season 1 did quite well. And I think season 2 will continue on that sort of home straight. I don't see there being much sort of discrepancy between the two seasons in terms of how well received. I think it'll be the appropriate sort of level of hype in that sense. I think Peaky Blinders, because the TV series was so popular, I think that the film will be well received. Although I think it might be slightly overhyped. I don't think the film will necessarily live up to people's expectations. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Daredevil Born Again, I should say. It's not the Netflix series anymore, although it sort of is. I think it will do well. I think the first season was good, but it was a lot of not behind the scenes necessarily, but a lot of last minute additions that didn't quite match it up. Because if you know the story, they were gonna do a full reboot, and they didn't like it, so they sort of did a half and half. But yeah, this one seems to have a lot more ties with the Netflix universe, I guess. Well, it's the same universe where Jessica Jones is coming back. It's heavily implied that Luke Cage and Iron Fist might come back as well. So and series 3's been greenlit, so there'll probably be another one in the year after. But I think my prediction for that show is it will be the most talked about Marvel show.
Yeah,
I believe there's Vision Quest next year, but that hasn't got announced release date yet, which might be more talked about. But I think Daredevil will, because Daredevil is getting to be quite a popular character now.
Yeah. I mean, I think people want to see a lot more of Daredevil. I think he'll do better than Wonder Man. I think by the time Daredevil sort of comes out, or Daredevil Born Again comes out in March, I think Wonder Man will be sort of lost within that.
I think
and then also but by the end of Daredevil Born Again, you'll start sort of getting the hype for Doomsday.
Yes, well, I don't think it'll be connected that much, but I get your idea.
The hype will start.
Yeah. So as again, Peaky Blinders. I think it will do well. I think it will do well for Netflix. It'll probably be in their top 10 in most countries. But I think my only issue is, and this isn't really to do with the film, this is more because they've announced like a 2-series sequel series to I guess what happens after this, or this. I think this is a couple years or like however many years after the series ends.
So it's like a TV movie essentially.
Yeah, But I think the sequel series, I mean, depending on how this goes, I think it's a bit overkill because the characters' stories were wrapped up fairly well in the
Yeah, I mean, like I
series,
said, I
but
think it will do well, but I think it'll be highly overrated.
maybe. April, let's move on to April, where we have, on the TV side, we have the last series of The Boys. And,
The Michael Jackson biopic.
okay, thank you. I was going to say. Yes, so my prediction for this, I think they will both do well.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I'm only saying that. I know that sounds like, oh, of course they will. Be saying it's every contender pretty much. But The Boys is ending. So even if it's critically panned, the show is ending anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a spin-off coming, a top of the earth spin-off that's already out. And the Michael Jackson biopic, although there's been a lot of, you know what, accusations, controversy against him, you know, his music's still quite popular, I'd say.
He is a popular artist as well, still.
So I think
not coming, yeah.
I think it will do well. I still think it will do well.
Yeah, I think it will.
Okay, so May, we only have, this is a bit hard on the TV side because every TV show we saw was confirmed up until April. Everything else had a release date confirmed yet. But we are going to predict what TV shows we think could come out in the following months. But for May, our only confirmed release for films is The Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, my prediction is, unless things change, it might flop. I'm only saying that because if you remember the teaser, you might have not seen the teaser, but I found it very underwhelming. And bearing in mind, it might not have been a great time to release it because of the Jimmy Kimmel backlash and everything else, but it looked very underwhelming. This is like the first Star Wars film since The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. So that's what, about 7 years at that point? And, you know, it should really make you feel, yes, Star Wars is back, but it doesn't. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I suppose because it's not in terms of films, it's not a direct continuation in terms of films.
No, it's not.
What the TV series particularly well, like I think the first couple of seasons were. I'm not sure about the latter ones.
So I think the third series is quite mixed opinion, but I think for the most part the show's well received. So yeah, and it looks like you don't necessarily have to have seen the series to understand it. But
yeah, I mean,
so its timeline is basically in between episodes, or after Return of the Jedi and before Force Awakens.
Right.
So it's sort of in between those.
It will make its money back, put it that way.
I think it could, but I don't think it'll do well.
Yeah, I think it will do well. I think in terms of how it will be received, I'm not sure. It could be 50-50. It could be really, really good or flop.
The only reason I don't think it will do as well is because there are better sounding Star Wars movies coming out. So we've got the, what's it called? The fighter pilot one that Sean Levy's doing at the moment with Ryan Gosling and Simon Bird from the In-Betweeners.
Yeah.
I think that's coming out 2027. I think it's called Star Wars Fighters. But again, it's like, I'm happy Star Wars is back in the cinema now.
Yeah.
I think it's done well enough in TV, but it's good to, you know, go back into the films because at the end of the day, that's where Star Wars belongs. And on that somber note, we have June. Now, June, we have 2 films. Both, well, I would say very well a lot of interest for. So our releases for June are Toy Story 5 and Supergirl. Now, I think Supergirl will do well. I think it will make its money back, just like Superman did this year. I don't think it will be the highest rated superhero movie, merely because Spider-Man's coming out the month afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, Supergirl was, Superman, was voted the highest sort of rated movie in 2025. Again, I think because of it's going to be a classic sort of James Gunn movie. I think
But
it will
James
do
Gunn's not
well.
directing it; he's only producing it.
Yeah, but he still had oversight over it.
Yeah,
So
I think
in that way, it'll be a classic sort of James Gunn
I don't know because I think
style.
I don't know about that because I'm only saying that because he seems to be very happy letting other creators take control. He's sort of started to lean more back into, so he's sort of more going wants to eventually go out and go to do the more producing areas. So he's sort of taking a step back, which is why he's more or less doing the Superman saga, as he wants to say it, which is, yes, he's a producer on Supergirl, but he's also,
I mean, he's like he's the showrunner essentially. So
he's a
he still has
co-CEO.
oversight.
Yeah, so he'll still have oversight over the film, and there might be some Gunnish elements in there, but I think it'll be a completely different type of tone in terms of what Gunn does.
Potentially.
And yeah, as I said, he's leaning more back into producing, so he's more or less doing the Superman side. So because he's written and directed the sequel coming out the year after in 2027, and yeah, and hopefully whatever Superman films come out after that. We also have Toy Story 5. Now, I know everyone's saying, why are they doing Toy Story 5? We don't need another one. However, I think it will still do well regardless, because what Toy Story film is really bad? None of them. I know Toy Story 4 is not popular, but it's still a good film.
Yeah. I mean,
So I think it will do well, regardless of everyone saying we don't need a Toy Story 5, we won't need a Toy Story 6, but it will still do well, and we probably will get a Toy Story 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think because people are essentially chasing nostalgia at this point. I think it will do well because of that reason, and also because you got a whole new generation out there who parents would have grown up seeing Toy Story, probably show them a couple of Toy Story films, so they're gonna go to this film, even if they haven't watched the rest of the Toy Stories, they're gonna watch this film because it's the classic children's animation by Pixar, and there's a lot of nostalgia and there's a lot of knowledge around what Toy Story is. I mean, it literally says it in the title. So
yeah, that's true. For July's releases, we have Minions 3, and of course, got Spider-Man. Now, Minions 3, my prediction is it will flop. I'm saying that because I've heard Despicable Me 4 wasn't very well liked. I think it did okay, but I think people are sort of bored of the story. I know Minions is completely separate to Despicable Me in that sense, but I still think it won't do as well. And Spider-Man will be the highest earning. I know there's the Odyssey as well, so there's a sort of Tom Holland off because he's in both those films and he's the central character.
yeah,
but I still think Spider-Man will do well because at the end of the day, he is the more popular character. And I know it's Christopher Nolan, and I think
it's an odd sort of release in that sense, because in a way the Odyssey has sort of been overshadowed by the other Tom Holland film. Yeah, I mean,
that's not to say I don't think it won't do well. I think it still will. It's like the sort of Barbenheimer thing, because they were very close.
Yeah,
I think Barbie won overall. I think it'll be a similar sort of situation.
I think because the Odyssey will be towards a certain audience.
Yeah.
Whereas Superman is a bit more broad audience.
You mean Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, that's what I mean, yeah. It's sort of a more broad, I mean, it's a more broad audience, and it will attract more people to the cinema. Yeah.
And I've got an extra prediction. I predict that the Lantern series will be...
I think it will be earlier than Supergirl.
So,
I think it'll be in June, but earlier.
Now, for August, we have a film that's had a little bit of a story to it. We have the Coyote v. Acme film. That's had a little bit of a history, as that was scrapped as one of many Warner Brothers tax write-offs during their discovery by takeover. And I know there might be another takeover very soon with Netflix, but this one's had a nice little life found. So it's been bought and it's now being released into cinemas. And I don't think it will do that well, regardless.
No.
I think it will be a good movie. I just don't think many people will see it.
No, I for one haven't heard a ton about this one. I would say you're probably more on top of releases than I am. So considering I haven't heard this film, I don't think people will go to watch it. I think people will see the trailers and will go, this is interesting. This could be interesting. But I don't think people will see it in cinema, but I think people will probably see it on some sort of streaming service.
Yeah, probably. I think it'll do well in streaming. Yeah, I don't think it'll do. I'm only saying that because this is a Looney Tunes, Wile E. Coyote, kind of film. Yeah, I think it's a good idea for what the film is, but I just don't think the Looney Tunes are that popular anymore. It's like Space Jam was the last hurrah, and ever since then they've been sort of held in obscurity, a bit like the Muppets.
Yeah, I mean, people know about the Muppets, and there have been recent like Muppet like films and TV shows. There hasn't really been a Looney Tunes release since the 90s or early 2000s.
Well, Space Jam 2, but the less said about that one, the better.
Yeah, that didn't do great. So I think people will still have that view of. I think people still have the view of that this is the same film. It's not going to do well. I think because the Looney Tunes sort of brand in a way is sort of non-existent. I don't think it will do well.
Yeah, I agree. September we have Clayface. My prediction is this will do quite well. I don't think it'll do as well as Supergirl.
No.
But I still think it'll do quite well, mainly because it's a very different type of superhero movie, as it's centered on the villain, but it's more of a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think particularly as the sort of superhero fatigue, maybe, potentially not in obviously recent years, but there has been a sort of fatigue over the years of sort of your traditional sort of superhero movies. I think this will do well, like you said, because it's not the protagonist, it's the antagonist. I think because the concept is interesting, and I think because people may be a bit more favourable towards DC films at the minute, particularly with sort of James Gunn taking over the success of Superman last year, the potential success of Supergirl, etc. Yeah, I agree. I can see this film doing quite well.
I think it will do well because it's written by Mike Flanagan, who did the Haunted of Hill House on Netflix and done the other Netflix horror shows, and they're quite well received. And he's a good writer, so yeah. I think it will do well. I've also got an extra prediction for this film, which is I think Batman will be in it.
Who would play Batman?
Well, I know there's no person cast at the moment. So what I think they might do is Batman's in the shadows kind of thing, where there might be an occasional scene where there's like a bat-shaped figure watching over. So he'll be in it, but they don't have to cast him because it'll be shot from afar. So it's a bit like The Wicked for Good with Dorothy, where they don't actually show her face. It will always be like they show her from afar or very close up into like her feet or something like that. I think it'll be a very similar sort of technique. That is my extra prediction for Clayface. And that way they don't have to cast him yet.
Yeah.
So they save a bit of money. And for October, we have Digger, which is the upcoming Tom Cruise film. Now, my prediction is, bearing in mind we only have a teaser at this very point, this will probably be the surprise movie of the year.
Okay.
I know there's very little about it, and I don't know the story or anything like that. But I mean, I don't know if Tom Cruise is the main character, or if he's just like a big supporting character or anything like that. I just know he's in it.
Hmm.
But I think it will probably do well. I know Tom Cruise in the box office has waned a little bit.
Yeah.
His last Mission Impossible films haven't done particularly well in the box office, but I think that's mainly because they've been overshadowed by other films. So, Dead Reckoning, that was in between Barbenheimer,
Yeah.
which were like the most anticipated films of the summer, so that never was going to stand a chance. And I can't remember, was there a big film in the way of The Final Reckoning?
Fantastic Four, maybe?
Yeah,
Sort of
actually, I think it was a
around that.
superhero
Yeah.
film, yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it, again, that was overshadowed by that. So I think
Yeah.
Digger will do quite well. It might surprise you because bear in mind there's a teaser and it doesn't really show a lot. So for all we know is it might be a completely rubbish film by the time it comes
Who's
out.
who's the director or the producer?
The director is, let me have a looky look. Where is
Because
it?
if it's a relatively big name, then I could see the potential of it. But yeah, I'm not too sure, if I'm being honest.
I don't think it's a necessarily big name, but it's got quite an interesting cast. Got Jesse Plemons, Riz Ahmed, John Goodman. So it's got quite a good cast. But yeah, for now, as I said, we've only got the teaser to go on, which doesn't show much. It's just a silhouette of a man with a shovel.
Yeah.
And the slogan "In Digger We Trust," which might hint to the story. But I stand by my prediction, but we will see what happens when it comes to October, or we get more about the film. So in November, we have The Cat in the Hat, the animated, would I say remake, reboot?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, there hasn't really been Cat in the Hat things since
It's
the
a
early
Mike Myers
2000s.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
this will do awful.
yeah, I mean,
I don't get why they're rebooting it and they
it's
made
a
it so
classic.
completely different from the book. What was the point?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it will do well in terms of kids will want to see it. Will parents want to pay to see it in cinema when it's probably going to land on some streaming service within a month or less of its release? I think it would just about make its money back. I don't think it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will do well.
I don't know. Because it could do
It's
well.
also a weird point
But I
in the
just
year
think
to release a children's
I just
animation.
think it's very weird.
Hmm.
It's just a very, I don't get why this exists. Is that I get rebooting The Cat in the Hat and making it animated because I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's completely different to the book. I don't understand it. And I know they had to adapt it a bit differently to the book because if they did it to the book, it's like a 30-minute short film. But I don't know. As you can see, I don't get it. I'm not very happy about its existence. And for our final predictions of December, we have Avengers Doomsday. We have also Dune Part 3 and the Doctor Who Christmas special. Now, it's mainly in a film circuit. Which one will do better? Avengers Doomsday or Dune Part 3? I think,
Well, I
and I might
mean,
be very off for saying it, I think it'll be Dune Part 3.
I mean, they released on the same day. Let's just point that out first. And I think they both could be potentially long films. I think it could be an extended Avengers film. And obviously Dune is
What do you mean by extended?
long time.
Right, okay.
And obviously Dune has a long time anyway. I'm not sure. I think Avengers has more of the wider appeal than Dune. I'm gonna say Avengers will win the whatever they're calling it. There's got to be a name,
yeah.
right?
There will probably be a name nearer the time. Yeah, I think it could be. I think you're probably right. It might be Avengers, mainly because whatever. Mainly because it's got a lot of the older cast.
Yeah.
Some of the original X-Men are coming back, as in Patrick Stewart. Ian McKellen, and it's even got what's his name? I
Chris
forgot his
Evans.
name. Yes, Chris Evans was recently revealed to be a return. Alan Cummings, who last seen in X2, which was a very long time ago. So, I think in terms of fan service, it will probably win on that alone. However, I think maybe last year the releases were quite good in terms of Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts. Although it didn't do well in the box office, I think it was a good film. Captain America 4, that's probably the weak link, in my personal opinion.
I think recently Marvel has had, or I would praise it anyway, for basically making their films feel fresher, particularly Fantastic Four. It felt completely different from any other Marvel film. So if they go, I mean, I don't think they will, to be honest, but if they go in more in that direction of making it feel less like a Marvel movie,
it's not going to be that. How can you do that?
It's not, but I think when they shy away from doing what they usually do, then it's great. It's great content. But when they go into the usual, there's a threat, let's solve the threat. We solved the threat. Blah blah blah. I think this film will be more of a setup for the next Avengers.
Yeah.
Rather than
agree
a complete standout on its own, because you had Infinity War, which basically reset everything, and the film before that,
I wouldn't say reset.
But it reset quite a lot.
I understand what you're saying. It's like it's set up for Endgame.
Yeah.
Which then,
that's what I mean. Infinity War was more of the setup for Endgame, which basically was a reset point for Marvel
to an extent.
Yeah. So I think this will be the Infinity War to the Endgame. So this will be the setup for the next Avengers.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think as I said, it will probably win on the fan service alone, because there's like Robert Downey Jr. is returning, Chris Evans is returning, Hemsworth's
I think
returning.
It will win the Avengers versus Dune. But just because of what Avengers is. But I don't think it will be. I think it will be slightly a flop.
What, in terms of story?
As in it's going to be overrated.
Right. Okay. I mean, we've also got Dune Part 3, which I think will win, mainly because the Dune movies are. I mean, you don't like them because you saw the first.
I
didn't like it very much.
I thought it was rubbish.
Well, they were very well done.
Be a lot of controversy around that.
They're very well done.
I agree with that. I just think
they've been on lists like but they've been on lists like they're one of the biggest films of the 21st century.
Yeah,
one of the best films. I definitely agree. I think it was probably wipe Doomsday, because Doomsday, yes, I think has a lot of hype to it, but that's mainly to the cast.
I think in the long run, Dune will do better.
Probably
in the long run. In the short term, Avengers will do better.
Yes, probably. We'll see. We'll see in December. And yes, we've also got in December the Doctor Who Christmas special for our TV pick. Now, this is an interesting prediction, because we don't really know anything and we can't really predict. But
I think David Tennant will come back.
That's not a prediction. I think that's fact at this point. I know it's not confirmed, but I think it's fact.
I also think this will be RTD's last one as showrunner.
Now, that could be a prediction, but I also think that's fact, because after what he did, they're not bringing him back. And if you're not a Doctor Who fan, just Google what the controversy is, if you can. Just type in Reality War. That will probably help you.
It's going to be interesting, because obviously it's going to be on obviously the BBC in the UK.
Yes, it's not Disney anymore.
Yeah, it's not Disney anymore. So unless they agree some sort of streaming partnership with someone within the next year, it's going to be interesting to see how other people in other regions will access this special. because it sounds like, or should be, a wrap up of the last two series, and the end of our Russell T Davies and the entrance to the next Doctor Who.
Yeah. So my prediction is that this is probably going to be it for the next few years.
Probably.
I'm only saying that because I know in the article when this was announced, it says the series beyond, but in typical BBC fashion, they don't tell you when. They don't tell you if it's going to be afterwards, mainly because they're probably sorting that stuff out now.
I think in March we'll hear some things, maybe a new showrunner.
No.
I think we'll hear something in March around
I think
Doctor Who.
what will happen at March is they'll probably confirm that Billy Piper and David Tennant are probably going to be in it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there will be series after that. They'll either...
Not immediately. I think it'll be 28, 29, 2028.
I think it'll be 30. I'm pretty sure it was going to be 2030. I mean, obviously, this could all change. As you said, we find out more and more as time goes by.
I mean, I think there'll be an announcement in March of something. There'll be some sort of thing in May, June, and then obviously in September there'll be potentially more information about potentially streaming internationally, something like that.
But that's my prediction, that there won't be a series for the next at least 5 years.
Yeah, I think at this point that for Doctor Who there has to be some sort of rest, because it's been on since 2005 without a break. It tried to reset multiple times during that period. I mean, you had with Matt Smith, his first series was sort of meant to be a reset. Peter Capaldi's last series was meant to be sort of a reset. Again with Jodie Whittaker, that was sort of meant to be a reset, and then with Ncuti Gatwa, that was meant to be a big reset that just was not a reset. Set. I don't think we'll have as long as a gap as you're saying, but I think there will be a gap. There has to be a gap.
I think there will be, but I think it'll be a long one. But that's all we've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Miles Ahead. But however, before I switch off, we will return to this at the very end of the year to see if we were right or not in our predictions. So that'd be interesting to hear.
Absolutely. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at milesahead.pod to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and leave us a review. It really helps us out.
We'll catch you next time. Until then, stay curious and keep looking ahead.